Yeah, so we just wanted to go over quickly, just like a refresher on what we have to be doing for assistant, making sure that everybody's following protocol, everybody's being safe, making sure that the dogs are safe, and making sure that the same things are done no matter who's at the kennel on what day. There's just a lot of inconsistencies, and I think that's just natural that that happens in terms of, developing habits of doing things that work better for you, or um, that sort of thing. And we just want to make sure that everybody's doing the same thing, the same routine, the same steps, so that we can ensure ultimately safety for volunteers and safety for the dogs every single morning. Yeah, so this is yard and shelter entry protocol. Do you want to touch on that, Kathy? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
we'll go through all of that stuff. Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
okay, you will. Perfect.
So I'm going to lead us through just a few slides here because I've been busy taking pictures at the shelter, and Jill and Ellen are going to pop in throughout. Ladies, please do that and add to what I am mentioning today. So first off, the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, in consultation with management at LAPS, has been working on the working alone and in isolation protocol. So I don't know if you know about it, but we've had two situations that were pretty scary for staff, where when the shelter was closed, people came in demanding to get their animals out. And in one case, Rachel was there all by herself, and now they've changed it so that there won't be any staff there by themselves. And in the second case, there were two staff there, but the individual was incredibly dangerous. And so we've been working on this working alone in an isolation protocol for quite a while, and we've kind of halfway implemented it, but we're at the point now where and mostly we've halfway implemented it because staff haven't really been held accountable to follow it. So I'm going to tell you what the protocol is, and in the next month or so, I would expect that this is actually going to be happening. So first off, the front gate. The front gate, as you can see in the picture, that's a false lock. They've taken the keyed lock away in the morning, and it looks like it's locked, but it's not. There's no lock there. But that's what happens when staff come in at 7 o'clock. They are to leave the gate false locked like that, and it should not be left open, until the receptionist comes in. The receptionist or the customer care person is responsible for the front gate. So that person will open the gate at 9 o'clock when they come on, and at around 5:30, when the shelter technically closes, the gate will be half closed. So it's going to look like this. So the side that has the sign on it that still needs to be fixed, Jill. But
I
the
know.
side has a sign on it that says we're not open on Saturdays, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But this is at around 5:30 because there could still be people in the shelter. And so when the receptionist leaves at 6 or 6:30, the receptionist will false lock the gate again until the last staff leave. So what this means is when you come in before 9 o'clock in the morning, the gate will be false locked. It will look like this. Come in, push it back closed again, and you need to park behind Cat Cottage because we don't want any cars visible where people come up to the gate and go, oh, it's not really locked, I'm just going to go in. And then the side door is supposed to be locked until 9 o'clock in the morning. And there's a blink camera doorbell there that we ring, and it rings on the LAPS cell phone, but that's where it's fallen down right now. Staff haven't been carrying that phone. And so again, I expect this protocol is going to be fully implemented within the next month or so. My dog really wants the toy.
She just sent the email out to staff this morning, or
Yeah,
this afternoon. So I would imagine that the expectation is going to be that all of these protocols are followed starting immediately.
perfect. So staff have been given a choice. They didn't want to carry the LAP cell phone and their own cell phone and the radios. And so they've been given the choice to download the app onto their personal phone because they're carrying those around with them. So hopefully it will work. I mean, when we first started trying to implement this, Ellen, you're like me, I don't know how many times we arrived and the door was locked, but nobody heard the doorbell to let us in. So you have to walk around and find somebody. So if you are having any issues with getting in the morning, talk to Jill. So if this protocol's not working, please talk to Jill.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on, move. Okay, so Jill opened this by talking about safety and consistency, and we need, number one, to think about safety for the volunteers. And so the new protocol is that we are not to enter the kennels when the dogs are in there, unless we're authorized by the ACA that day, and they're probably not going to authorize it. We just don't know what's happening with the dogs. You know, their behavior changes, and we don't know because we haven't been in there in a week or for a week, or maybe they haven't been fully tested, right? They haven't been exposed to everything. So we just need to stop going in there. And I've been doing it. I've been, oh, dog, come on, here's a treat, and send it back through the guillotine, but we can't do that anymore. If you need to get a dog into the back and they won't go willingly, then ask an ACA to come help get them into the back so that you can clean the kennel. The other thing is always, always, always wear gloves. I've been helping the safety committee on their zoonotic exposure control plan, and a zoonotic is a disease that's transferable from animals to humans. I think the table is about 8 pages long of all of the diseases that can be transferred. So always wear gloves, always. And I bring my own like rubber work gloves, you know, kitchen gloves kind of thing, but you can just use the other gloves that are available. If they are not there, if the gloves are not sitting on that garbage can, ask an ACA and they'll have to bring some to you. Okay,
There's
and
also gloves
sorry.
in the volunteer area. There's gloves in the volunteer area, and
Okay.
I'll try and keep those stocked at all times in there.
We've lost so many shelves. I don't know where you're going to put it.
Oh, don't worry, we're getting more.
We're getting them back. I know.
Yeah.
I know. Great. And so other changes that we need to start implementing is particularly safety for the dogs. We are to only have one kennel open at a time. I know it's sometimes easy to just open them all up and then you know which one you've done and that sort of thing. But we need to be sure that we are focusing on a single kennel at a time and get that kennel done. And I know it means that, you know, sometimes we're bouncing around between different kennels, but we need to do that. And in particular, when, you know, we just had that cold snap, having all the dogs in the back for the time until everybody gets done can kind of be hard on the dog. So anyway, that's the new protocol moving forward. And always close doors behind you, always close gates behind you. You just don't know if an animal's going to get loose. I actually had a situation, I haven't told anybody this before, but it was several weeks ago now. Thankfully, the dog was a very friendly dog, but something happened with one of the doors. I don't know what happened. I didn't quite close it all the way, and I turned around and the darn dog's like at my heels. And it's like, oh my God, where'd you come from? So make sure they latch. And the other really important thing that has to change immediately is that we are not to add any toys to the kennel that weren't already there. So if you do a full clean and take everything out of the kennel, we can't put any toys back in there. And if I could find, hang on a sec. So because the animals, some of the animals, you know, you've seen the signs that say hard toys only, and look at that picture, there's a teddy bear in there. Another one was just a couple of days ago where James is also one of the dogs that can have hard toys only because he will chew everything up and then it comes out in his poo. So we know it's not good for him. And so he had this in his kennel, which was probably in the durables bin, but trust me, if it squeaks, it's not durable. Okay, you can have it now. You know, this is a durable. As I pick it up, water runs down my arm because I just cleaned it today. You know, this is the durable. But what we are to do now is just to put the toys outside the door when we're done cleaning, and staff will come along. And if they are acceptable toys, then they will put them in the kennel. Okay, so that's what we need to be doing. So first steps. Oh, and Bill and Justin, anytime if you have any questions or comments, please.
I do have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Are you saying we clean the kennel and we leave all the toys that were in the kennel already outside the door?
No, if it's a light clean, if you don't have to clean everything out, leave those toys in there for them.
Okay.
It's just if you have to do a full clean and you have to take all the toys out, we're not to put any more toys back in. So, Seth, thank you. Okay, so first steps. So we started doing this in the last couple of weeks where if we have a reactive dog, we've started putting up a towel over their door, and that's James's. And I got to tell you, Since we started doing that, when we take that towel down, James is still not barking. So I don't know if that's why. I think that's the only difference. James is not a barker anymore. Justin, there's not Justin, sorry. What's the one in the corner? Anyway,
Vinny?
some of them,
That Dorothy?
Vinny. Yeah, Vinny is still a barker, but not as bad when he can't see what's
Oh,
happening
Vinny,
outside the
I
door.
see.
So it's just to keep the dogs calm, and it's only up for the time that you're doing the cleaning. That's it. And
How's it connected to the window? I can't quite see that.
there's double stick tape.
Oh, you just use tape.
No, there's double stick tape already on the windows.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I'll look at it tomorrow.
But I think only on 3 kennels right now, the 3 that we've been doing this on. And we don't have to do, the other one was Roger's, and Roger got adopted, so they may have taken the tape off. And those are those microfiber towels that are light and they stick really easily.
Okay.
When you attach the hoses, the last 2 times I've been in, the nozzle hasn't been turned off, so always test that. The first time I turned it on without testing the nozzle, I sprayed one of the ACAs really good because she was starting to walk through and the hose is going all over the place. And please turn it off counterclockwise, I guess, to the left. Turn it off to the left, and that way we all know that it's off. And the tap must be on full, like all the way up. It can't be part way. And there's a reason. There's a reason for that. The big reason is it's all about the suds. The red hose may not distribute the right amount of cleaning solution if it's not turned on full. And so if you're not getting suds, either in the bucket or on the floor, you can see them. Make sure that the tap is turned full on. And if you're not getting suds, talk to an ACA and they'll change the bucket of stuff in the chemical room. And another thing that we should be doing is before we start cleaning anything else, if there is urine coming from the kennels, we should be hosing that down with the red hose before we start doing anything else, because we're going to be dragging those hoses through that if we don't. So we got to try to keep things clean and as sanitary as we can. So we all know that there's 3 different levels of cleaning for the kennels. So light, full, or deep clean. So on a light clean, obviously that's when there hasn't been any urine or feces in the kennel overnight. And this is another thing that happened to me a couple weeks ago. I noticed that the scooper had feces in it sitting like in the area, and the ACA had come along and she had actually gone into the kennels and scooped all the poop around the kennels, but it wasn't there by the time I came in to clean. I wouldn't have done a deep clean. I would have just done a light clean. So either ask the ACA, if you see that, just ask the ACA, or you can look at their chart, because their chart shows what happened overnight. So they're to write on their chart what happened overnight. But at that point, by the time I triggered that, I'd already done a light clean on the kennel that actually needed a deep clean. So just something else to think about. So obviously we just tidy up the blankets and toys. Lately, we have to take some of the blankets out because they're muddy. So if they're muddy or torn, obviously replace them. We don't want to make unnecessary laundry, but at the same time, we want it clean. There has been issues lately with smelly kennels, even after we've been done. And I mean, there's a number of reasons for that. Some dogs just smell. Some dogs have anal gland issues where they're going to stink. Some dogs that eat dry food will have a different odor. So like even today, I went into one of the kennels, and it was late this afternoon, so it was like a full day of time in there, and it just didn't smell fresh. So don't hesitate to use that deodorizer. So if it's smelly at all, even on a light clean, spray 2 or 3 squirts of deodorizer and then damp mop the floor. Always damp mop the floor with either a mop, or you can see in the picture, I'm just using a towel on my foot and just sort of cleaning it up. And that kind of spreads the deodorizer around and dilutes it a bit as well. And then we always wash out the water bucket and refill it. And so dump it and clean it. Ellen, I think you use a cloth to clean it. I just use my gloves and swish around cleaning solution from the red hose, and then rinse it twice. Fill it really close to the top, like 1 inch to 1.5 inches from the top, so that staff are able to tell roughly how much the dog is drinking. If we only fill it halfway, they're going to think the dog drank a whole lot of water when maybe they didn't. And then always place the handle at the back. That's just it, because they've got collars on. We don't want them caught in it. And place it in the corner like that picture on the far right, like that, or like this. So this is after Bill this morning. This is how the bucket was, and it's perfect. It's up out of the way. If they bump into it, chances are they're not going to dump it all over the place. So absolutely perfect. So water bucket. And I know you guys know this, but we're just trying to teach consistency, so everybody's going to get the same information. So that was like is when there's been a mess in there overnight. And again, the dog has to be either outside in the runs or in the back of the kennel, not with a volunteer in the room. And if you scoop the poop out of there, please take it outside immediately and put it in the bucket. Don't leave it in the main common area of the kennels because it just stinks everything up. And then, of course, we all know this, remove all the bedding and toys. Spray the bed and the floor with the red hose, scrub it. If the walls are dirty, which they are these days because it's muddy outside, scrub the walls either with the scrub brush. It looks like a curling broom, but scrub it with the broom, or I've had to, get a towel really wet and just scrub it with a towel to get the mud off because it's bumpily. And the back of the door and the window. Now, some people like to use the window cleaner on the window. I don't use chemicals if I don't have to, so I'll just scrub the window with the scrub brush and then I'll wipe it off with a towel when I'm done. Rinse it with the blue hose and then put 2 to 3 squirts of deodorizer. And then squeegee it. And the squeegee again is going to spread the deodorizer out and dilute it down, and then towel dry. You guys know this. And then, of course, wash the window. We want it to look good when people come in to adopt these animals.
Question for you.
Yes.
You're saying if the dog poops in the kennel and it's just a poop there, it hasn't been trampled over, I'm supposed to replace all the blankets and everything anyhow?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. That's what the expectation is from laps, is that, because even though it may not look like they've tromped in it, maybe they have, and they're up on their beds and they're running their toys through it. So yeah, even if it looks like it hasn't been trampled on, we still have to, if there's anything in there, we have to clean it all the way out. Yeah.
Okay.
And then when it's clean, do the water bucket again, same thing, put new bedding in, a dog bed and a couple of blankets, or at least 3 blankets in there, and then toys outside the door, as it shows here in the picture, outside the door for the ACA to put in, and the ACA will judge whether the dog can have those particular toys. And the other thing, and then if the dog is in the back of the kennel, let the dog in, obviously, and ask the ACA. I always ask the ACA, do you want them in the front, or can they roam back and forth? Some ACAs want them locked in the front, like McKenna always likes them locked in the front. Others allow them to go back and forth. It depends on what's happening, where they are in the rotation, all those sorts of things. So communicate with the ACAs and find out what they want that day.
How about the toys that are outside?
What's that?
You're saying take out the toys when you clean the room. What about the toys that are outside?
Well, these toys were put in after the room was cleaned. So the whole thing's cleaned, everything's cleaned. The toys are set there for the ACAs to choose whether they go inside or not. Did that answer?
No, there's toys outside as well.
There's only
outside in the yard. Is that what
in
you
the
mean?
yard?
No, outside the guillotine.
Oh, those
the
ones.
Kennel back.
We'll get to that. I'm coming to the kennel back in just a bit. Yep. Okay. Deep clean before a new dog. If you ever run into this situation, same thing. You follow the full cleaning process for a full clean, but you have to spray the walls, the floor, the back of the door, the window, the bed, everything with Prevail. And if it's not there, it's not often there. It's usually in the chemical room, so the ACA will have to let you get that. We have to leave it for 5 minutes, and it must remain wet. So you have to give it a pretty good spray so that it stays wet for 5 minutes in order to do its magic. And then we rinse it, squeegee, dry it, just like all the other times. Then set up the bed, turn the water bucket over, and put a clean sign up in this case because there's no dog there. So the clean sign is magnetic, and they're behind one of the doors to the faucets. So you might have to open a couple of the doors to the faucets to find where they are. But that signals to the staff that that room is completely clean, ready for a new dog. And then, of course, the common area, we're going to spray it with a red hose and scrub it. And, occasionally remember to spray the red hose on the tools that we're using, because we're running that scrub brush through everybody's kennel. We need to be sure that we are cleaning everything off of it. And so rinse the floor with the blue hose, rinse the brushes with the blue hose as well, squeegee the floor. And then this is something new that we've started doing. So I don't know, Ellen, how you do it, but I just put a towel down at that trough in the middle and I pull it backwards with my foot and spray the deodorizer in the trough, because that is an open sewer pit is what that is. So we're trying to keep the smell down a little bit. And until you get to the end of the trough, and just, a squirt every couple of steps kind of thing.
Also,
And,
just Kathy, just
yes.
so you don't forget, when you're drying that trough with the towel, also take your towel and make sure that the doors that are going into the kitchen and the door that's going into the front, check to make sure water hasn't escaped underneath the door frame.
I thought I had one for that, but I guess I didn't put it in here. Okay, so yes, absolutely. I did take pictures for that, but I didn't do a slide for it. So when you're spraying the hoses, there's often a flood outside Patricia's door, outside the financial manager's door. And so we have to be sure that we squeegee that out and dry it, and right away. Like, don't do all the floor and then go back to there, because it can be a real slipping hazard for public and staff. If the garbage bag in the common area is half full, please take it out and knot it, and take it to the bin if you can, or you can take it into dry storage and put it into the wagon. Thank you. That's in dry storage. But if you go out that gate, you have to close the gate. You have to have a key to get back in. So you might just need to leave it in the wagon. And don't forget the mud room. So that access room between the shelter and the outside, where the board is that you sign the dogs out on. Don't forget to clean the mud room, the back of the window in the mud room and the floor in the mud room. It gets incredibly dirty. So we need to start doing that. And then the back of the kennels. Check the back of each kennel for feces or urine. And again, and the dog has to be in the front of the kennel or in the yard. They can't be in the back with you. Remove any toys or bedding. Do a scrub, scoop, hose, scrub, rinse, and dry. Same thing that we've done in the front of the kennel. Sweep the rocks off the sidewalk. And clean the poop scoop tools. So anything that we've used, and quite frankly, if I use them inside, I take them inside and I use the red hose, and sometimes I've had to scrub them, but usually if I catch it quickly, I can just hose it down and then rinse it off and put it back by the garbage can. And then, so we've added this sheet on the wall. Thank you, Jill, for doing it so quickly. On the wall on the way to food prep. Some additional tasks within your 2 hours, because the expectation is that we're there for 2 hours. So I've already put some of this. If the garbage bag's half full, if the poop bag outside is half full, we don't want it full. It is way too heavy and the bags are ripping. Sweep the sidewalks. I've already talked about that. And if the yards are empty in the back during the summertime, we can wash and refill the water buckets out there. Excuse me. And if the yards are empty, if there's no dogs in them, we can go out and do some poop scooping out there as well. So lots of extra things that we can add on to. Oh, and what's not on that list, the picture on the far right is what do they call that little room? The petting room? Petting station, I think it's called. Yeah. Well, it's the dog bed recovery room is what it is. So Ellen and I spent quite a bit of time I think it was Sunday, putting all the dog beds back together again. It's probably half full again. So if you have strong shoulders, that's something that you could do within the 2 hours, is try to match up those crazy dog beds and get them put together. Yes, of course.
So you mentioned about sweeping at the back outside in the yards, right? And poop scooping There's only 2 yards that they can actually access, and that's yard 1 and 2.
That's right.
And so the sweeping of all those rocks, you can only go to the gate. So
Yeah.
you're basically just staying on the adoptable side and you're not going to the stray side.
Yes. Thank you,
Okay.
Bill, for doing that this morning. We noticed it was done this morning. It
Yay.
was great. Yeah, that was good. All right. Okay, before I get to questions, the one thing that I haven't mentioned is I had a discussion with one of the ACAs today about timing of when we come in. So I think on the schedule, it may show us starting at 8 and it's from 8 to 10. The ACAs are quite happy if we show up after 7 o'clock. And as a matter of fact, it's probably better the earlier we are there, the better, because the dogs are coming in and they're coming into a dirty kennel and and then they have to get out again. So, I mean, I get there usually around 20 after 7 in the morning or 7:30, and I just follow along behind as the dogs go out. Dog gets put out, I clean the kennel.
So
Right.
sometimes I can't get in the building and I don't really want to get there earlier if I'm going to be locked out longer.
Sorry, say that again. Oh, yeah, I hear you. Well, they need to fix that. Mm.
Yeah, so I think that they want the kennel assistant to start from 8 and be done by 10, but I know there is a couple people that they've made accommodations for, I think, to start at 9 instead. But they prefer, like, the earlier the better is best. And then in terms of being locked out, that's a thing that I'm hoping will be addressed now that the new SOP has gone out for the staff. The ACAs have to have the phone on them at all times, so until reception gets there. So I'm hoping that will be a non-issue going forward. But if it is still an issue, let me know. It's something I'll have to address.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a couple things I'd like to bring up. Maybe
Please do.
So I'd like to see some more shelving and to put items down so they're not hanging on the garbage can.
Yes, I just ordered some they're sort of sticky hooks that go on the wall so you can hold the spray bottles instead of them sitting on the garbage can.
And I know on the stray side, people are hanging all these leashes and collars and stuff on where the hose go.
Yes.
Makes it hard to put the hose back away and pull it off, and it's just troublesome.
Yes.
There's also a one room in the stray side where the keys that I sign out does not seem to open.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't. Has never opened that one.
Which room is that?
Third one down, Bill.
I think it's 13. Door either 12 or 13.
And staff have issues with it as well.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's a known
because
issue.
To get an ACA to open it for me.
Yeah.
It seems to be keyed different.
But Bill, in future, I think all of the volunteers, the kennel assistant volunteers, will be staying only on the adoptable side and not moving over to the kennels on the stray side.
Yeah.
Except for Rhea. Rhea's always stray side.
Rhea does stray side.
Totally.
But other than that,
Yeah, we won't.
Use that room at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's empty right now, as a matter of fact. Okay. More questions? Justin, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. No, it sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Did I miss anything?
There's no name tags when I come in, just a laptop now, so.
Oh.
Yeah, that will all be replaced. The laptop is for logging in to Better Impact and logging your hours. The name tags are coming back. I don't have any room for them right now, but I'm going to be bringing them back. I just ordered a cabinet that will go right beside the desk with the laptop on it, and I bought new baskets to hold the name tags that I hope is going to be a little bit better in terms of organization too. So hopefully that will work as well. And
Perfect.
then all of it will be coming back ASAP.
That was a really quick paint job yesterday. Was that yesterday they painted or the day before? Yeah, it's like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got it all painted up. We're going to get a paw print chalkboard paint thing going, and we still have some more plans for that room, but it's coming. It's coming along.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I guess is that it for the presentation?
That's it for the presentation. That was it.
Okay. So I
think.
just wanted to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really, really appreciate you for leading this and taking charge on this. It's one of those things where I'm still learning that position, and really all I know is the feedback I get from the ACAs right now. So I really, really, really appreciate you taking charge and making this awesome presentation and running this whole show here. It was really good.
No problem. I'm happy to be able to. I mean, there's been so many changes. I mean, just in the last few weeks that, it's really important that we get the message out.
Yes, yeah. And that's the thing. It's not about
wait a minute,
anything.
I forgot something.
Oh.
I forgot something. One of the things that can never, ever, ever go in one of the kennels is a ball. Like a tennis ball or a chuck-it ball. Can't go in the kennels. They can only be played with outside. So we have to.
Shouldn't be an issue anymore with the new putting the
right.
toys outside the door. So that shouldn't be an issue going forward.
Yeah.
It's balls. Dogs love balls.
Yeah, but they also swallow them.
Yeah, we have an issue right now where we think one of the dogs swallowed a tennis ball and has a blockage now, and we have a few dogs that resource guard the ball, so they'll put multiple balls in their mouths at once, and then they choke on them. So instead of being like, okay, well, that dog can have a ball, but that dog can't, the dogs will only be allowed to have the balls outside in the yard when the ACAs are out there with them, or if the dog walkers are out there with them, but not unattended in the kennels where they're not being checked on every, 5 minutes.
I mean, they can have the bigger ones, right? There's lots of bigger balls that they can have in there. They just can't have the tennis ball size.
Just not the little
or smaller.
The little ones. Yeah.
One more thing there. Today, Kennel 1, I think it is, on the adoptables, had 9 blankets in there.
Oh.
Yeah. So I know there's a poster on the wall telling the Douglas College people or whoever to add a blanket each time or something.
Oh.
And isn't that the one where he immediately takes them off the bed anyway and carts them around the kennel?
I don't know. I took a couple of them and then he destroyed his bedding after that.
9 blankets.
Yeah, if you see that, just take them out and just reset it to what you know is supposed to be right.
Sorry, because what you have posted on the wall on instructions.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at that. I've never really. Those were.
They've been there forever.
Those were before me. So I'm gonna actually make a note to take a look at those signs and see what they say.
Yeah, I don't think they're accurate.
The sign that's on that wall is for Douglas College.
Well, and they'll be doing only stray side going forward, so those signs should be moved over to stray side. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
And Justin and Bill, if there's anything that you need, if you have any questions, your go-to person is the ACAs. If you can't find anything, go to them, and let them go running around and looking for what you need or whatever it is, right? So they're your go-to person if Jill's not there.
And if I get there at 9, so if you need anything, feel free to come into my office and ask me for anything. Ask me if you have questions. I will always find the answer for you.
Yeah. All right.
If I don't have it. Yeah. So thanks so much to Kathy and Ellen for collaborating on this together. This is awesome.